everyone, so I'm back with another video. This time it's going to be about Rosee and her demonetization. So I want to see how she's actually feeling about it, what her next plans are, and then I have a bonus question that's kind of messy, but it's something I've been curious about, so I'm going to pull cards on that. And I'm calling this Messmas because these are going to be some really messy readings that I have planned out. Like, I'm also going to do one on Amber, and then now I have to add Foodie to the list now that she's been demonetized. But I'm going to get right into it. And the first question I'm going to be answering is, how does she really feel about being demonetized? So I'll be right back. Okay, so these are the cards I got for Rosee and how she really feels about being demonetized. On the bottom of the deck, we have the Four of Wands. Then we have, from left to right, the Eight of Cups, the Hanged Man, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Prince of Swords. And I don't use this deck super often, and I'm just like, what does the Four of Wands mean in this deck again? And literally the first line says, the Four of Wands is about the end of a job well done. And I need to remember that this is from Rosee's perspective, because usually for this card, I see that as like what it described, a job well done. Like, you worked hard and now you're graduating. So you're reaching a completion that is actually very like satisfying, like one that you can be proud of. And I was like, but she has nothing to be proud of on YouTube. But that's my opinion. That's obviously not going to be her opinion of her content and her work on YouTube. So she's seeing it as like maybe the end of an era with the Eight of Cups and the Princess of Swords, which is the same as the Page of Swords. Sorry, I said the Prince, but I should have said Princess. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she's still reaching out to YouTube, still advocating for herself, because look at this card, and you can see how there's like a computer in the background, so maybe it's falling on deaf ears. She's slowly coming to a realization that she does need to stop wasting her energy advocating with them and planning like what she's going to do next. I kept seeing the Eight of Cups, like even in other decks when I was trying to decide which one to use, like this one, the Eight of Cups kept showing up. So she's walking away from YouTube for now, but I don't think she's fully let go of the idea of being on there and being monetized in some way. I think she also wants to keep her footing on YouTube so that reactors don't get a hold of the narrative. Then in the middle with the Hanged Man and the Eight of Pentacles, you can see whenever I see this, I always think about wasting money, feeling like money's just kind of flying out of your hands, someone that's bad with money. So she's definitely very concerned about how she's going to be making money now, and she's thinking about the money that's going out and the money that's no longer coming in. The Eight of Pentacles is a card that's about working. So now she's kind of in limbo with what she has to do with work, which is what we already knew. So it doesn't seem like, and I mean, we get this vibe from her anyway, it doesn't seem like she's too panicked, which is interesting because she describes it as her family's so dependent on her, and oh my God, what am I going to do? You know, she makes it sound like she's going to be out on the streets tomorrow, but she doesn't even seem to have those sort of concerns like in her energy. So I clarified just to make sure that I was getting the right vibe and I wasn't, you know, making assumptions, but no, the clarifying cards kind of double down on it. It is talking a little bit more about her strategizing. So right now, I think she's more in a phase of planning very heavily about what her next move should be. And part of me wonders if she feels like she's getting somewhere with YouTube, or she might eventually, because again, like, even though she's thinking about like loss and she's trying to be strategic, she's not, like, there are worse cards that could come out considering the situation she's in, and this is relatively fresh. Like, I'm late to pulling these cards, but it's not like, you know, it's been a month or something. She has gotten past the disappointment and the worst part of it, but maybe she's starting to learn about budgeting. She could finally be having to like learn how to manage her money better, at least for the time being. Then on the bottom of the deck, the Six of Wands, this is what's making me wonder if she has a backup plan already in order, because you can see this says victory. So why is she feeling so confident? So I don't know, maybe they're gonna take another look at her appeal. Maybe Twitch has monetized her, because the question is, how does she feel about being demonetized? And even if she felt like she had a good run on YouTube, if that was your main source of income, like, you couldn't feel this positive or even ambivalent about it. But I think that's the best we're gonna get with that. And my next question is, what's next for Rosee and her brand? Because at the time of writing these questions, I did not believe that she was going to leave YouTube. And as we see, she's still not going anywhere. So I'll be right back. Okay, so the question is, what's next for Rosee and her brand? And specifically for the affirmation cards, I asked what her intentions are for her brand. So not just what's coming down the pipeline, but what she hopes is. And for those ones, I'll get to those second. I'll start with the regular tarot cards. So on the bottom of the deck is the Temperance card. Then we have the Five of Wands, the Five of Pentacles, the Nine of Swords, and the Seven of Swords. So I shuffled twice, because the first time around, like, the question was, I don't know. Well, the answer was, I don't know. And I was like, okay, that can't be the answer. And again, it's I don't know. So even the cards aren't necessarily saying what's next. It's more like what she's going to do. But since she hasn't settled on anything final, these don't seem to be reflecting anything final. A man might be part of her plan with the Emperor, the Page of Wands, and the Two of Cups. You know, I was getting that with the other deck. I wonder if she has some kind of like allegedly big like feeder lined up, like someone who spends a lot, a big spender, a big tipper sort of person. So she could be trying to scope out like someone like that who can supplement her income. The Temperance on the bottom of the deck means that she's weighing out her different options right now, and she's trying to decide what would be best for her. So she's in a place of limbo, but it's not a panicked limbo since it's the Temperance. So she really seems calm. With the Nine of Swords and the Five of Pentacles, she's going to be stressed about like what to do, because I think she's going to feel a sense of loss when it comes to her identity, her place on social media, what she wants to do next. So maybe more of the despair is coming with her like sense of not having any identity, just kind of floating. With the Seven of Swords here, she's going to be trying new things, kind of not necessarily throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. She's going to try and see what resonates for her, and also what gets a good response from the audience. But I think she's anxious about competition, because when she was on YouTube, like, she had her place kind of carved out in Girl World. But if that's not what Girl World is going to look like anymore, like going forward, where is her place? And if she's thinking about, like, say tarot, for example, there's already a very large and established spiritual community on YouTube. Is she going to be able to fit in there? I don't know what else she's trying to do on Patreon and Twitch, but I'm sure it's not anything original. So that's what it is. She wants to think of an original idea because she has a lot of competition. Like, look at all those unicorns. Well, they're not even real unicorns. Like, that's the thing. If you look, they're horses that have like their horns tied onto them. So a bunch of people trying to be unique, but none of you actually are. So she's getting sucked up into that and the confusion and chaos of all of that. There could be someone in particular triggering her. Like, it feels like she could, at least in the recent past, have had a specific community she wanted to join, and she just wasn't able to. And I'm always drawn to how this looks like a clown, so she could have felt stupid by the end of it. That could be referring to tarot, but it could be referring to like multiple different things she tried, even things we didn't realize she was trying. Okay, and now going to the affirmation cards. What are her intentions for her brand? The first one says, today I feel good. Today I have, oh shit. Today I know deep down that I look good, feel good, and I am a good person. These are definitely giving Rosee. Today I am ready to receive love. Today I am open to being loved by another healthy person. Then on the bottom of the deck says, today I'm glowing. Today I have huge amounts of energy and focus to take on any challenge. So she's not giving up on being an influencer, having a spot on social media, I guess you could say. So she's trying to keep her head up. She's staying positive about it. And again, like, looking at this love message, like, I really do think that she's at least trying to hook somebody, but there could be someone in the periphery. I look good, I feel good. She's gonna try and be really positive, fake it till you make it. And I think this also is like really how she feels about herself. Like, remember how we were getting the Six of Wands and the Four of Wands, like all these celebratory cards, even though I was asking about her demonetization? Like, homegirl's delusional. Anyway, so that was pretty straightforward. At first, my bonus question was going to be about Corby, but that I'm gonna put in a whole separate video. Like, I'll do an updated love reading for Rosee. But the bonus question I did go with was, how does Rosee really feel towards Levi? Because, you know, whenever people ask, like, she's very, like, I feel like she talks a lot. She does her word salad thing, which is just shady. Because if you love your sibling, just say you love your sibling and move on. Like, she just over explains and gets really defensive about stuff and doubles down on how she treats him. So I think it'll be interesting to see what the cards have to say without her input. Yeah, so I'll be back with that. So this is crazy. I don't think I've ever gotten a spread like this. Like, look at how it's nothing but court cards. So I'm just going to assume that this is representing their family and probably saying something about their family. Oh, and look under that, the Ten of Cups. And what's the Ten of Cups? A family card. And then I can already see the Six of Cups, which can represent like children and stuff. And you can see how that bear is bigger than the other one. So it's like, can represent Rosee and her brother. She's like the older sister. But yeah, this is definitely talking about their family. But I asked about how she feels towards him. So I guess the way she feels towards him is filtered through the way she feels towards everybody else. And it's also funny, I should add that in the last spread, the Temperance card would be a card that represents Sagittarius. So that was also her coming out in her element. And I remember that this time around when she came out as the Queen of Wands, because she's a Sagittarius, the Queen of Wands is a card that represents fiery signs, and Sag is a fire sign. And I'm pretty sure Levi is a Scorpio, isn't he? Because his birthday just passed not that long ago. So I think he's a Scorpio, so that could be him. I don't know what her mom and dad's signs are. Emperor's Aries, Queen of Cups, Cancer, Scorpio, or Pisces. King of Wands would be Sagittarius, Leo, or Aries. But I'm going to assume that this is the Patriarch, because that's also what the King of Wands can represent, and so can the Aries, the Emperor card. But with that coming out in reverse to start off with, reverse is controlling, domineering, honestly kind of abusive. So I don't know who that could be describing. I'm going to clarify in a second, because Like having an entire spread of just court cards is crazy. I just don't feel like that's giving me enough to go off of. But I think how this card is looking away, I do think Levi is aware of how Rosee behaves towards him. Like, I don't think he's totally oblivious to the fact that she can be rude sometimes and stuff, especially with today I am drama free. Today I will let go of the people that do not support me and only surround myself with positive people. So I think that's how he treats her. And I think he just tries to like stay out of her way, stay away from her, not get into too many arguments. Look at that red flag in the background. And part of me wonders, like seeing the Queen of Cups and King of Cups come out, I wonder if he has somebody. Like, has she ever explicitly said that he is single? Though I wouldn't be surprised if he hid from her the fact that he isn't single, because I can see her trying to sabotage that. But I'm going to clarify and I'll be right back. Okay, so again, this is all alleged. This is just speculation. I'm going to say that especially before I get into this next part, because I've clarified now, and I think that the Queen of Cups is her energy again coming out, which would make this is like a combination of her. This is more like her intentions towards Levi. Eight of Swords, like I do not like these cards coming out together. That's like straight up represents abuse, because I already described what the Emperor reverse is like. And then the Eight of Swords, you can see she's like all tied up. That's a card about being controlled, analysis paralysis. But with these coming out together, it's giving more of like a controlling energy, like someone's being controlled. I think that she has a vested interest in making Levi seem incapable. And I'm saying that because this is also someone who's like, they're being restricted, but how do I explain this? It's not anything that they can't get themselves out of. It's kind of like self-imposed. But since like that isn't a real restriction, and like this, and the Ten of Swords can be about betrayal, the Queen of Cups, like I think she tries to pretend like, oh, I'm so loving and kind and I just want what's best for him. And maybe it's not even for the audience that she's doing all this for, because if you think about it, her parents, her dad specifically, watches her videos. So I don't know if she's hoping to make Levi seem so incompetent that he loses some of his like respect, or not even respect, like his dad and their parents start to see him as being like irresponsible, and like maybe Rosee is the more responsible one, or maybe they should each like they're not too different from each other, so there should be more power and like more attention shared between the two of them, or like the responsibilities that Levi gets, like having his name on the deed, like maybe her should be there too. So all this time I was thinking that she wanted to make him look bad to the audience, and I feel like it's more so for their family. I think she's trying to make him look bad in front of their dad specifically, and she wants him to be helpless. Like she wants him to be in a state of like learned helplessness, or at least to just like acquiesce to her trying to push him into that position. Because when you look here, today I am capable, today I will accomplish every goal that I set for myself, today I'm resourceful, today I will turn anything into an opportunity. I think she's trying to present herself that way, but that's really how she sees Levi. So it almost feels like she tries to steal some of his personality traits, some of his character traits, mannerisms, and just like how he goes about life. Drama free. Already felt like that's Levi trying to avoid her. And I think there's a lot more drama that goes on in their family than what we see or we're told about. Today I'm capable. I think she wants to be capable, like how he can hold down a job and do that consistently and contribute to the household in the ways that he does. Have a car and not get it totaled. Like, yeah. Today I feel good, look good. Ooh, this card in particular, I was getting that after she acts the way she does towards him, like she has to convince herself she's still a good person. So I can only imagine that whatever goes on off camera is probably worse than what we see on camera. And not even necessarily in the sense of like her being mean to him, but like I said, was trying to put him in a position of seeming more helpless than he is. Like, that's still messed up. Like, what do you call that? Munchausen by proxy or something? Like, that's a really screwed up thing to do to a person. So I wouldn't be surprised if you had to like look in the mirror and tell yourself affirmations about how you're a great person. I think that she also tries to tell herself that she is as good as him. So it just feels like a lot of like insecurity being triggered by him and her. I don't think it's intentional. I'm not seeing anything here to where he's malicious towards her. I think that he tries to avoid her. Today I will turn anything into an opportunity to make my brother look bad. I'm resourceful. I think she wants to be resourceful. Like I said, she wants to seem like at least equally as responsible as him. So yeah, that's my reading on Rosee and her demonetization and what's been going on with her. I think I also wanted to include a question about Amber, but I don't know. Maybe we can I'll probably do a whole dedicated video on whatever Rosee's deal is with Amber. Again, I'll do one on Foodie. I have an FFG one planned. So stay tuned as always. Feel free to ask for whatever video you want in the comment section, or if for whatever reason you don't want to request it publicly, you can always request it via email. Thanks for watching. Bye.